So today I'd like to show you my pen. As you see, it's all winterized. I have it wrapped in this plastic, drop cloth plastic. I wrap it every year so that way they stay a lot warmer in there during the winter. I tarp the front part of this up here. I'll explain more of that in a minute. So as you see here, I got my chickens, ducks, and pigeons in this pen. It's a 16 by 20 foot pen. And let me get these girls some snacks and then I'll explain to you the origin of this pen and how it all came about. Here's some sprouts. There's some lentil sprouts. I'll be telling you how to make those in the near future on this channel. And their very favorites, mealworms. These guys are even bigger fans of the mealworms. See, with ducks, they're there's only 3 ducks in here, and they're just very dirty animals. So they like to mix their water and their poop and smash it everywhere and make a big wet mess. So they have their own separated section over here. Although the chickens can jump back and forth and go wherever they want, it prevents the ducks from making the chickens section over here all sorts of wet. So let me give you the origin of this pen. The origin of this pen is I once took home a gosling while I worked at the shelter. And from what I was told, they normally die. It was worth a shot though. Took him home, it was in the off season, so even upon his rehabilitation, couldn't really release him. So he became so domesticated with me that I kept him. And he was doing fantastic. He was a full-grown goose. He went from a little bird cage into a dog crate, into a bigger pen, into eventually I made him his own 12 by 30 pen on the side of my house, and it was right up against the fence. Well, unfortunately what happened is one day, and it was a chain link fence about 4 foot, one day I went out to feed him. He was very, very lovable, very sociable. His name was Yamanashi. And when I went out to feed him one day, something had bit the back of his head and he had a piece of skin hanging down past his beak. We brought him up to the vet. Unfortunately, there was not enough skin to close the wound without preventing him from eating going forward. So we had to euthanize him. Now, I knew I wasn't done owning birds, but that specific thing was not going to happen again. So I had my neighbor, who's a construction kind of guy. He's does a lot of different things and very talented. He built me a 12 by 30 foot pen up against the fence. So the fence would be the one wall of the pen. A couple of years went by, everything was fine. I had my ducks, I had my pigeons, and that was it. I didn't want to push the limits with the chickens because I never really owned chickens before, and I also knew that maybe part of what I was doing wasn't all on the up and up, despite that I was taking very good care of my animals because I never went through a permit process. So at some point there was a neighbor across the street, kind of diagonal. They no longer live there. They were creating a lot of problems with stray cats that I was very upset about. So they got mad at me based off of that situation, and they called code enforcement on me just to, I guess, kick the tires and see what they can conjure up. And the thing that they came up with was that the pen was built on the fence, and that's not okay. They didn't care about me owning animals. They didn't care about any of that stuff. They just didn't want the fence on the the pen on the property line. That had to go. So it was a very clear and simple statement. Get rid of it. That's it. So my wonderful friends Maria and Bruce, Bruce did such amazing work in the middle of the summer. I had no options, and I went and I got a permit from the township, and we literally picked up and moved the pen and redesigned it on the other side of the yard. We added different wood and different things that we had to make this work, but we picked this thing up, we got the proper permits, and we put it on the other side of the yard, and it was 16 by 20 foot now. So now it's more of a square instead of a long run. And after that, once I got the permits, it gave me the opportunity to take home, or to go and get some chickens. So now here we are. So this is my pen, and yeah, I'm little by little making improvements on it, you know, actually pretty quick these days. But yeah, it's been here a couple of years. I've had my pigeon over here, Tyson. She's been here for 9 years. She was in the other pen, and now she's over here. But I have six chickens in here, 6 pigeons, and 3 ducks. And over there is their dust bath area. I'll explain that to you on another video. They got their mealworms and snacks. I recently redesigned this chicken tree over here. They like to sleep on that at night. It used to come down leaned this way, similar to how my chicken ladder is back here, which I'll be redesigning very soon as well. But yeah, I mean, it's very nice in here. About 10 degrees warmer in the winter, so no matter how cold it gets, you know, a lot more tolerable for them in here. The roof, I have a metal roof going all the way up until this beam here. So once it hits spring, where we're not getting freezing temperatures, I pull this tarp off of the outside here, and the whole front section gets a lot of sun. So these guys don't free range. I've seen far too many predator situations and creating problems with neighbors and jumping over in yards, and I just can't imagine. It's hard enough losing animals to begin with, but I can't add risk factors. We're not on a farm, you know. So this is just what I feel is safest, and I keep my number manageable so that way it's still luxurious for them. You know, once you put too many animals in a space, it's no longer a big space. So I always keep that in mind. I always try to make sure that I have what I can handle. And yeah, so this is the pen. We'll be seeing a lot more of this. I'll be talking up a lot more of these guys. But this is a good little origin story and beginning on what we're doing here.